Hello. It's been a while since we've gone live, and I'm excited because we have a few awesome guests today. We're gonna talk about a game that taught us something this year, and I just realized I didn't think of a game.
Oh, that's good. Way to
So
be
maybe,
prepared, Dustin.
yeah,
Attaboy.
I was worried too much about prepping for this one. So I'll have to think of one when we're chatting. But we're here and we're gonna chat about a game that taught us something this year, and we're gonna play a game called MonsDRAWsity. I'm excited to play this. It's been an instant favorite of mine now. Eric, who was on the podcast, had a chance to chat with us about how what you can learn as a game designer and as an educator, and what an educator can learn from game designers. So I'm excited to play that, and it's been a really popular game. We ordered a small amount of copies, but we sold out already. So it's pretty cool. But Roger, what's new with you? Are you playing any fun games recently?
Yeah, it's funny with all this stuff. I'm actually playing more. I mean, it's obviously tabletop simulator and stuff like that. Was playing a little bit of in-person stuff, but that's really kind of gone by the wayside, as of late. So yeah, I've been playing a lot on Board Game Arena because I'm trying to. They kind of have an alpha playtester thing you can get involved in, and I'm trying to get so that I can do that because there's a game on there that's getting in the alpha that I'm interested in. But you have to get up to playing 50 different games. So I've been actually the last few days just frantically picking stuff in there and just playing stuff just so I can get the plays up. And because of that, I found like 2 or 3 games. I'm like, wow, this is really good stuff. One was from 2013 and one that came out this year. And I think I want to get the actual physical copies of them because I enjoyed it so much. So,
Wow. Yeah, I really like, and that reminds me. Maybe we can talk about one thing that before we get into our show is something we had prepared, and our first blog post for a top 5 list came out last week on Friday, and you just wrote the one that's coming out tomorrow. But last week was our top 5 board game websites of 2020. They're definitely not new websites, and they're new to us, or they've been very helpful for us this year. So they're more of like a personal choice of our top 5 more than like the best of all the board game websites out there. I don't know if we'd be able to manage that. But
right.
Tomorrow, your list is coming out, and that's the top 5 publishers of 2020. I won't reveal what's on that list. You'll have to check it out tomorrow. And then we'll have a couple other lists. Trying to decide what our 4th one will be. I think I had thought of one, but maybe we might switch it. But the 3rd one's is top 5 board game media personalities. So in the past, I did top 5 podcasts, top 5 or top 7, I think last year. So we want to broaden that to like streamers or YouTubers or podcasters, just the ones that we've really enjoyed this year, or that made a large impact.
Right.
But today we're going to talk about another top, and that's the top game that taught us something from 2020, to kind of go along with our theme of board game with education and our brand. And I'm excited to welcome a few guests onto the show today. We'll welcome first Chidi Paige. I'm excited to have her join us today. She is the designer of Birdwiser and Surfright. Chidi, would you mind introducing yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. So I've been an educator for a little over 18 years, and I'm also a birder. And so, and I kind of veered into game-based learning throughout the couple of years that I run some education programs, particularly youth programs and family programs. So I started designing games for my students to learn a particular concepts. And I'm also an education consultant where I help parents or teachers or school districts to design inquiry-based or project-based or game-based curriculum or programming. And as far as my game design journey, I have 2 games that one sold out, and I'm in the middle of making that available again. And it's Birdwiser Classic, which is a bird identification card game. No surprises there as a birder and an educator. It just came naturally to me. And the second one is Surf Rights, which will hit the market in January, hopefully. And Surf Right is a content review board game. And so it just kind of helps people prepare or review particular content and test preps, and they create their own content basically, and they just use it to learn or prepare for tests. And the third one is Birdwiser board game, which is another bird migration. It's a bird migration board game that talks about the challenges, environmental challenges that birds face during migration, and what we can do about it. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about Surf Right. So that's essentially something that a teacher can use their own content to review for, maybe design something or for their students to review for an exam.
And students can use it too. So it comes with what I call super flashcards. They're reusable, and students can create their own content and just use it to study and play a board game alongside it, and just it's gamifying their study process, basically. Right.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we'll bring on Karl. I didn't ask you how to pronounce your last name.
Sure.
Rahenkamp?
Rahenkamp.
Okay. He is the, I guess, host to the board game channel Purple Moose Play.
Right, yeah.
Would you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
Sure. Actually, since this is board game and education first, I'm a science teacher. I teach chemistry, and this year also a 9th grade science skills course. I'm also the department chair of the science department at the school that I work at. But in addition to that, I do run a solo playthrough review YouTube channel called Purple Moose Plays.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And we'll bring on Bassey. And she's joining us. It's very late there, so thank you for powering through and coming to join us so late. Would you mind introducing yourself a little bit?
Okay, my name is Bassey Owanako. I'm joining live from Nigeria. I run an educational board game cafe, or rather tabletop cafe. This came upon because I have a kinesthetic daughter who, along the line of interacting with her as she grows, I discovered that board games were her learning tool. Once she was struggling with a concept and we played a board game about it, the light would go on. And so when we went back to study, it became fun and easier to understand what she was being taught. Over time, she started inviting her classmates home for play dates. And I was like, okay, if there are other people that learn this way, and I have these board games just lying here because of her, why don't I make it available to other children? And so that's how I started the board game cafe, where children just come in, play, and have fun with board games, just to reiterate what they learned in school, and then go back and wow, it's just a fun time for them because the concept comes in a fun approach, and so their guards are let down and every other thing just flows with it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard not to learn playing almost any game, right? You're learning something, whether it's content or just maybe the level of the Pokemon and their strengths and weaknesses. You're learning something from playing the game. So that's awesome. Cool. So we are going to chat about our top games. I didn't create a banner. Ooh, maybe I'll create one while we're talking. So top games that taught us something in 2020. I want to start with Karl if we can, because I'm curious about the game that you shared. I didn't create the name of the game as a banner, but can you share the game that taught you something in 2020?
Sure. We got lucky because this is a game that I've just sort of started wrapping up a Kickstarter preview for. This comes from a Chinese designs or publisher called Jing Studio. It's a game called Ping Yao, First Chinese Banks. So it's a dice placement game where you're basically playing the managers of a Chinese bank in ancient China, sort of building branches, giving and taking loans, taking remittances to help businesses transfer money from one place to another. And it was just, as a scientist, history and these kinds of things are not topics I would normally be into right away, but I'm a big fan of dice placement games. So I jumped onto it as a dice placement game. And the theme shined in such a way that as I was playing the game, I sort of started learning about concepts about how, you know, banking works and how I can take in money from one source and then use it as a loan somewhere else to generate income on money that's not really mine, that I'm holding temporarily, or creating branches in different locations to help meet the needs of things, of people in different places, and giving donations to governments to get favors which work as abilities in the game. And just the ideas of how banks make income off of the monies that they have stored and those kinds of things was interesting to me.
That's awesome. And you said the English version is going to be on Kickstarter.
Right, there's a Kickstarter. I think January 12th is the date for that, the English version.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so it's really soon. Awesome. Cool. And then I'm still thinking of mine. And I know Chidi and Bassey said that the pandemic maybe, you said, cramped your style this year.
Yeah, it did. But I would say that perhaps what I've learned from a game that I played, which was just pretty much play testing my game and conquering Tabletop Simulator as I was trying to create a digital version, was that one thing I could point out that I learned from that experience is that when you're designing a game and you have one thing that is concrete that you want to do or you want the game to do, and you just grows a mind of his own and just runs off completely different journey or a different concept that you didn't really anticipate. And I'm just beginning to learn that that happens and try to come to terms with that. So that's my life learning at this time as a game designer.
Yeah, Tabletop Simulator, for anyone not familiar, it's a digital based board game experience, I guess, and it's a beast. It's not very user friendly, especially for anyone not familiar with games or board games. It's very difficult. Even like when I first started using it, I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, so I can't imagine creating a game for it too. It's an awesome tool. Like, I love using it now that I know, but there's definitely a steep learning curve for it.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go to Roger. I know you had 3, and then I changed it to just 1. So would you want to share your top one?
Yeah, I was, when you told me to do that, I was like, well, maybe should I do something that's like more applicable to what we're doing? But I kind of went down the road that I always pick just something new that's a new game that came out this year. That's the way. And obviously, I think that's with everybody. Mine's way down, playing new things. And I did about 3 or 4 I was really interested. But it's actually one that I just played like yesterday. I only played 1 turn. And I'm already like, I think this is going to be my game of the year already. And, I'm a demo person for Gray Fox Games. And they have a new title called After the Empire coming out. And that's kind of the one that I like. But it's a worker placement kind of tower defense. Now, I'm a science teacher, but this is really history based. So that's what kind of grabbed me. But what was kind of interesting is that you're trying to build resources because everybody's going to get attacked by, somebody's invading you. We all have a castle that you're kind of managing, but everybody's going to get attacked with it. So you're trying to build up, anticipating what's going to happen. But what I find super interesting is that the way you win the game is the amount of money you have, but that also you want to have more because it allows you to buy things and to get stuff that you need. However, that also equates to how many soldiers and stuff are going to be attacking you. So the higher you go, you can do more, but then you're going to pay for it when it comes around, and they're doing that. But I don't know. I just thought it was a very, very interesting dynamic where the worker placement piece was pretty quick because you only have 3 of them and you get some more as the game goes on. And then it was very thematic with where you're going and stuff like that. So I like the way that they did that. But then when you get to the point when you're getting invaded, everybody does it at the same time. But it's a bunch of steps you got to kind of go through to do it. So it's like one of those games where you have to, I think, probably go through it once. But I've just played 1 turn, and I liked it that much. I don't know if that's such a fair thing, but when I'm just sitting there thinking about a game after barely playing it, that's always a good indicator to me. And I think it was just reading the rule book, and I was like, "Ooh, this looks really good. This is something that I enjoy." But it's, I guess learning maybe the history aspect. And one other thing I thought was really interesting. So you can get, your castle knocked down and the walls knocked over and stuff. But what this one does, which thematically makes sense. I always like when I learn that stuff, and I'm glad some designers are doing that. It doesn't have to be super realistic, but it just so that thematically makes sense, is that all the resources you use to build the wall, you get them back. So they're not like lost, which I've never really seen in a game. Like you usually like, oh, those are gone. But these are like, I think the thinking is like, oh yeah, your wood wall got knocked down, but it's still there. We can just go gather it back up and remake it. So yeah, that's kind of the one that I'm leaning to. So
that was something Kingdom. What was the name of the?
Oh, it's After the Empire.
After the Empire.
It should be starting to deliver to backers in January.
Okay.
So right now it's almost in the States, but it's sitting in a boat right outside of Seattle because it's waiting to get into port because all the places are taken and there's no place for the ship to go right now. So
yeah, there's a lot of shipping logistical issues right now, I think.
Yeah.
It
is what it is.
Yeah. And Bassey, you had did you have a game to share too?
Well, I had one or two.
Okay.
My daughter is in a class where they are learning homophones and antonyms and synonyms. And I have two games that when she came, she was like, "Mommy, where's that game we played some time ago?" Now I'm learning what we played in that game. So I just told her, okay, I handed her over the game. And before I knew, she had chatted her friend, "I have the game. I'm coming up." I'm like, "You have what game?" So Verbal Volley is one of such. And then the other one is Double Draw by Learning Resources. It's where you have cards and the fastest finger comes up here. A card comes up and you need to be able to identify what word the card is trying to describe and the two versions of the word. For example, sail as in S-A-L-A and sail as in S-A-I-L. So I found that, by the time she finished playing it, she was like, "Oh, Mommy, homophones are easy. Let's go on." I'm like, "Okay," because you've been given the opportunity to play a game at it. And then she and her friend went on to say, "I can tell you how many words I know and you don't." And when she went to school, went to talk to her teacher about it. But funny enough, no other person in her class had heard about the game. And they were like, "Where do you find these games?" I'm like, I go looking for them because that's what I do and that's how my kids learn. So those games just make seemingly hard work so much fun that they let down their guards and absorb all that they need to learn and then move on. It becomes a breeze. And that's what I target. Learning made fun. You just need to make sure that fun comes in as an underlying principle in education. Else you lose a lot of your kinesthetic audience. So those two games, yes, teaching the same thing but from different approaches. And for Verbal Volley, I had a friend even reach out to me. She had bought the game and just dumped it somewhere because she didn't know how to use it with her daughter until she saw me make a video about it. And she's like, "Oh, wow, I have this game." And it never made sense to me. So she was able to understand how to use it to help her daughter to learn antonyms and synonyms.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I probably speak for all of us, and maybe we all have a similar experience where we are very much board game ambassadors and we're using these games and people are realizing that these things exist, right? There's a game that you can use to teach like new words to your learners as well. That's awesome. Yeah, cool. So I was able to think of mine. I remember I did think of it earlier, but then I forgot it. So I had that one prepared. But it's a Food Chain Magnet, which is a super heavy game. It's very intense.
Yes, it is.
But I really enjoy it. I like deeply strategic games. I've never won the game. I've played it 4 times maybe now. I've never won, but I still love it. But it has a lot of economic principles built in the game. It's essentially an economic based game I can't tell you the principles and the names of them, but I know them and how they work and function in the game. Like you can discount your products, and then I think I disappeared for a second.
Yep. Yeah, you're
And I'm back.
You
The
froze.
customers. Oh, am
Yeah.
I still frozen?
No, you're okay. You're lagging.
I wonder.
You're
I think
lagging
maybe
a
my
little bit.
camera turned off for a second. But the customers will come to the cheaper product, right? And so someone else will make their product cheaper, and then essentially you're not charging anything for the product. So it's not helpful to that market. And then you can really establish yourself in a corner and charge luxury products, right? You increase the price a lot, but you're selling the same thing, but it's only thing offered to those particular people in that corner. So I'm sure there are other principles in there, but I'm not an economics professor or teacher, so I can't tell you the names of them and explain them very well. But awesome. And then I guess the next thing we're going to do is play MonsDRAWsity. So I've played it. We've been able to play it once, and like I said, it's an instant favorite for me. And I've watched a couple other streams. Ian Zhang, he is from Breaking Into Board Games. He kind of helps Deepwater Games. He's done a stream of playing this too. His stream setup is really awesome. So if you really want to see how it's done well and professionally, I would recommend checking out his. But I think what I really want to try doing is getting anyone that's watching to play in the comments. If anybody tunes in and maybe they're watching, I'm going to kind of remind them every round. So we're going to play, there's 5 of us, so we're going to do 5 rounds. And anyone that's watching, maybe they're like skipping back and forth, I'm going to keep reminding, you can play with just a pen and paper and your phone. So essentially how the game works is I'm a witness, and I just saw this MonsDRAWsity. So there's the pun. And I need to explain it to, I guess you guys are like CIA, FBI people who are trying to find out what this is. And I look at the monster, and I can only look at it for 20 seconds. So we're going to use this live timer up in the top left corner as our timer. And then I have 20 seconds to look at it, and then I put the card down, and I have to explain it to you, what it looks like. And I have 2 minutes to explain it from memory. After those 2 minutes are up, I get to look at all of your pictures and try to choose which one is closest to the one that I saw originally. And then after that, you guys will all vote on which one you think is the best. We're not going to really keep score because it's more about just having fun and demonstrating the game tonight. We maybe can declare a winner if there's an obvious winner. All right. But if you're watching, you can play in the comments. All you need to do is listen to how I describe the monster and draw it yourself. All you need is a pen and paper. And when you're finished drawing it, you can just post your monster in the comments. I know Grace is my wife. She's a awesome fan of Board Game with Education, helps out a lot. I know she's going to be watching and playing. All right, so I'm going to look, and we're going to start at the 30, so I have 20 seconds.
So we're going to draw what you describe. All of us
Yeah.
are doing it at the same time? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I've got 5 more seconds. 20. All right. So now I'm going to take 10 seconds to explain. If you're watching, you can draw this monster that I'm going to explain here. I have 2 minutes to explain what it looks like, and I'm going to start now. So I would start with the center. The center of the monster is a box. It's a head. His head is a box. It's like an outlet. Not an outlet, but the thing that goes into the outlet. And it's on top of its head, and it's like a bucket. And it's kind of frowning a little bit. Or it's definitely frowning. And so a square bucket is its head. It has the prongs that go into the wall at the top. And then underneath are like 2. Well, I can't use my hands. That's a rule. Underneath are 2 tentacles, like octopus tentacles, just 2. And they wrap around off to the side of the head of the bucket head that looks like an outlet. And there are a few wires as well coming out of the bottom of it, but they're not really like as prominent as the as the two tentacles. The two tentacles are kind of like the main features that are coming out of the bottom. And yeah, that's, I mean, if you guys are allowed to ask questions if you need any clarifications, but
Where are the wires coming out from?
they're coming out from the bottom a little bit. And they kind of wrap around the tentacles, but not really all the way.
How about eyes? You said he was frowning, but what about the rest of the face?
His eyes. Have you seen Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
A long time ago, yes.
No idea what you're talking about.
He kind of looks like the milkshake from that. But if you don't know what that is, his eyes are like kind of like half semicircles, I guess.
Does it have a tail? What happens to the rest of the body?
It's just its two tentacles. Yeah, it doesn't really have any other body. All right, and then time is up. So if you're watching, post your picture in the comments. I have to open that up so I can check out the comments. I'm gonna put it over on this monitor. So I'm gonna ask each of you to share yours first. We'll start with who's ready first. We'll just go in order. So we'll go with Roger first.
I'm terrible at sketching, so
I don't know. I had a hard time with the head, Justin, because you're kind of like, I was like this, and then it's this, and I'm like, okay, and then so I don't know.
So, okay.
I'm trying to get it so it's focusing a little bit.
I don't know how.
I'm doing it.
Here we go. This is how we make you bigger.
Oh man.
I don't know. It's just.
Oh man, I can't. I don't know how to get you into that part of the stream.
Yeah.
I can kind of see it. I can see it. I can definitely see it.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to get it to. Hang on a second. Trying to get it to focus.
There we go. All right, and then we'll go to. Ooh, I don't know what I'm doing here. We'll go to Chidi.
Okay, let me see. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay, yeah, I can see it there. Awesome. Okay, and then we'll go to who's next? Karl. Okay. All right. We'll go to Bassey. Okay. All right, and then I have to vote for who I think is. Oh, I left Roger.
Yeah, that's okay. I was all shaded out.
I'm gonna say Rogers is the closest. And then now I'm gonna share with you guys what it actually looks like, and then you'll all vote. So this is what it actually looks like. I need to get it to focus now. Can you see that?
Okay. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So it looked like a plug. Yeah. Okay.
So now everyone hold up your pictures.
My awful picture.
And then you will all vote on which one you think is closest. So I'll give you like a few seconds to kind of check them out and decide. So we'll do around the screen. So Chidi 1, Karl 2, Roger 3, Bassey 4. All right. So vote. You on the count of 3. Hold up a finger on who you think.
What are the numbers again? I'm sorry. So I'm 1. It's 1.
You're
2, 3.
3.
I'm 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, gotcha. I see. Okay.
All right. So we'll go 3, 2, 1. Vote. You have a 2 there. 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay. So Karl would win a point, and I think Roger would win a point there. I need to double check the rules, but we'll keep going. Cool. And I guess I should explain. This is from the expansion, the Cute Creatures expansion, which is an addition to it. So if you're watching again, you can play with us. I'm gonna check the comments to see. I think we have at least one person playing in the comments, and I guess I should have shown that up there, huh? I don't know why it's not showing me the comments here. Oh, here we go. Oh, Grace is trying to figure out how to post her picture. So maybe we'll wait for the next round. All right, I'm going to take a picture and send this one to someone. I'm going to look at it. Oh, it looks like maybe you can't post a picture on a live Facebook Live. So maybe that won't work for people playing. I'll go to Chidi. So I'm going to send you a picture of this monster. So you should be getting it on Facebook. Yeah, I think Grace is telling me you can't post pictures live, so that's too bad. I guess my plan for people to participate failed, but that's okay. So Chidi, I'll give you 20 seconds to look at that picture, and we'll start now. And I'm gonna be the moderator because I think it's too hard for me to not look at the picture and send it to you guys.
Right. Yeah.
So we have 15 seconds to keep looking. And wait, I lost track of time. I think we'll give you 5 more seconds. All right, time's up. So put it away and explain. You have 2 minutes.
Okay. Okay, you guys ready?
Trying to.
Okay, so this it has a big fat horn, like kind of like a triangle, and it has like a whale type of mouth, and kind of like frowning a bit, and has 2 legs and 2 arms, and it has like triangles like on its kind of like scales, but not scales, but it has triangles on its arm and its horn. All right, that's all I remember. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, again, the eyes, but also, what is the general shape of the body of the
Yeah, it's kind of like a blob, like circular. Yeah, it's kind of like circular, and then the horn is protruding out. And the horn has those triangles on the skin, and also the arms, I think, has triangles on it.
You have 15 seconds.
Any other questions?
10 seconds. 2, 1, stop drawing.
Oh, man.
All right, so we'll go in order. So we'll start with Karl. I'm going to make you big here so you can share your picture.
lighting is bad. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Kind of looks like a birthday party costume. We'll go with Roger. Okay. I like these pictures. Bassey?
You don't want to see my.
It's all good.
Okay.
Triangles.
It looks like a pizza man, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So Chidi, you'll vote on which one you think was the closest.
I think Rogers was the closest.
Rogers is the closest. All right. And then we'll look at what it actually looks like. And this is what it actually looks like. I'm going to make me big. Looks like this guy.
I
think you guys are all pretty. You had the.
Yep. I see the whale thing you were describing now. It totally makes sense. Totally get it.
All right. So now everyone hold up your pictures. Oh, I should hold up the actual image too. And you'll vote on the count of 3. So take a second to look at which one you think. Okay. And then on the count of 3, so we'll go Karl 1, Roger 2, Bassey 3. So 3, 2, 1, vote. Are
No,
you
no,
voting 1, 2? All right. So it looks like Karl would have won that one.
Yeah.
Or you have 2. Oh, Roger.
Just to-
Roger. Okay. All right. So I think Roger's killing it. Good thing we're not keeping score, right? All right. We'll send the next one. We'll go to Karl because you're next on my screen. Can't send that one. I'm gonna go with the original game for this next one. So the last 2 were from the Cute Creatures expansion, which I don't know if those last couple were cute. At least not your guys' drawings.
pictures. I like the artwork.
Yeah, the artwork's really cool, and it's all from I want to say a handful of artists. I haven't gone through all the cards yet, so I know, but there are multiple artists that drew the different monsters, and it shares the artist's name underneath, so it's really, really awesome. All right, Karl, I'm gonna send this to you, and then I'm gonna find you on Facebook here. All right, and it should be sending to you. That just sent.
Yep, got it.
All right, I'll give you 20 seconds. It's up to the 50. I'm gonna double check the scoring rules so I can share those with everyone.
It's just an exhibition game, though, right?
Yeah, just practice. Oh, time's up. So put it away. And then you
All right.
have 2 minutes to describe starting now.
All right, so up at the top of the picture, the head is sort of lemon shaped, if that makes sense, with a tuft of hair right in the center on top. And then it's kind of bisected horizontally down the middle to sort of separate the top of the head and the mouth. And out of that line, there's some sort of curvy teeth sticking up out of the mouth. The eyes are big, round, yellow, beady eyes. And then the rest of it gets really weird. Directly in the center of the bottom, really, really skinny, really, really long legs that have almost sort of a crab foot at the bottom of them. And then off of both ends of what I call the lemon shape, the sides, comes also these long kind of arm leg looking things. One of them has that same sort of crab end on it. And the other one looks like, I don't know how to describe it. If it was like a crab that was part monkey, like they kind of look like monkey fingers or monkey toes instead of the crab legs. And when I say crabs, I don't mean claws, like the legs of a crab. That's sort of best I can do. It's really weird looking.
How many legs does it have?
So it's got those 2 really long skinny legs in the middle and then 2 arm legs coming off the ends of the lemon shape.
What was the body like?
The body, again, it's like there is no body. The head is the body.
Huh. Oh, man.
So it's just that lemon thing with 4 appendages coming off.
I have 15 seconds. 5 seconds.
Does it have a smile, or what's the mouth like?
Just a straight line across, basically. And as I said, there's sort of round teeth sticking up out of it.
Up to the mouth. That's all. Fine, I can't fix it.
Before we share, I guess Grace had said she loved the different facial expressions drawn on the last monster. All right. So I want to get this right because I like I said, I've only played this once, and the rules scoring was a little confusing when we first played. Not from the rules, but more a sense of we just kind of started playing without really reading the rules fully. So essentially, Karl, you would choose your monster. So after looking at it, you would choose it secretly. You wouldn't reveal it because it kind of gives away what might be closer. And then after that, you all vote, and the witness then reveals the card they selected. If you choose the same drawing as the other artist, so let's say everyone votes for Roger, and Karl had chosen Roger, Karl would score a point there. If not, then Roger would score the point. All right, so so Karl, you would secret. Oh no, we got to. So everyone share. We'll start with Chidi.
Oh God.
Big, so you can share your drawing.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then, oh no, I keep doing that. And then we'll go to Bassey. Okay. And then Roger, we'll share yours.
See, I didn't hear the mouth, so I just improvised.
Good.
And added mine later.
All right, so Karl, you'll select which one you think was the closest secretly, so you can just make a mental note since we're not really keeping score, and then you can let us know who you selected. But this is what it actually looked like. Oh, I'm gonna make myself bigger so everyone can see.
Oh man.
Can I make this?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
All right, and then so Karl selected secretly. Now, everyone, can you share your pictures again? So we can all vote on which one is actually maybe the closest. All right. And then we'll do an order. So 1, Bassey, 2, Chidi, 3, Roger. So on the count of 3, we'll vote. 1, 2, 3, vote. Yeah, I thought.
It was pretty good. It was pretty close.
Yep. Yes. Definitely the closest.
All right. So normally you can't vote for yourself, but we'll allow it because I think yours was definitely the closest. I would have voted for you. So, all right. I think who do we have left? We did Karl. We'd have Bassey left, and did Roger? Did you go? No. No. Okay. So we'll do Bassey and then Roger. I'm gonna go with a cute creature again.
That's not so cute.
Yeah, this one's not. I don't think this one's very cute either. Well, maybe. All right, and I just sent it off to you. You'll have 20 seconds starting now to look at it. 10 more seconds to look at the monster. And time's up. So starting now, you have 2 minutes to describe the monster.
It's a blob, just like something that drops and just lands. It has a very big right eye and a smaller left eye, and then a sort of eyebrow over the right eye. Then you know when you clobber someone on the head, if you watched all those cartoons, when you clobber someone on the head and they have those bombs that come up. So it has like 2 of that, one higher up, one a little bit closer, the smaller eye. It has a very wide mouth and not like 3 teeth. One is very large, then the other 2 are spaced apart. And then you know when cheese is melting or when wax is melting on a candle, it just has some parts of it melting. The entire body is like a square, but you know, a square you squashed and is melting in a very funny manner.
About a minute.
That's about. So the mouth is really wide. It's like it's agape. And then you can see the teeth. One very big tooth coming from down, and then 2 spaced apart up there, like squarish. Then the body, as I said, is melting like a blob somewhere, with the clobbered bombs on the head. One very big eye, one smaller eye, and then very dark eyebrow split in 2 over the big eye.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Time's up. All right.
Carl, you're smiling.
We'll start with Karl. Share your drawing.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
That's good. That's good.
I like the band-aids on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was an interpretation, right?
Yeah.
We'll go with Chidi. All right. It's interesting how you guys interpret.
Yeah,
you have a
that's
very
what's cool about it.
dark, long eyebrow there. All right, and we'll go with Roger. Like a jellyfish.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of the blob, and then I was hearing some stuff running it.
All right, and you'll choose basically which one you think. Just mental note, which one you think was closest. I forgot to ask Carl which one you thought was closest. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, the one that everybody chose for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So you would score a point for that one. All right, and then now we will all reveal. So this is what it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an egg shot.
Nice.
All right, and then everyone share your pictures.
Yeah, that's very cool.
All right, and then think in your head just on your own which one you think is closest, and we'll vote. We'll go 1 on top and then 2 and 3 on the bottom. So Chidi 2, Roger 3. We'll vote on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Vote. 2. So that would be Chidi. So Bassey, which one did you choose?
It was a close tie.
A tie.
Let me say why. Chidi had the best of shape, but Karl got the best of the features, particularly the divided eyebrow.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's what's cool. Yeah. If you had to choose, which one would you have chosen?
Karl. I'm sorry.
Karl.
Yes, Karl. Yes.
Karl. Okay. So which one did everybody vote for? Was
Chidi.
it Karl?
No, it's
Chidi. Okay, so Chidi would have scored a point there. Then, awesome. All right, so then the last one I'll send here to Roger. I think this one might finally be a cute one. I mean, you could maybe call the other one cute. This one I would say is definitely cute. All right, and let me know when you see it.
Yep.
All right, so we'll give it 20 seconds. Got 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Time's up. So now you have 2 minutes starting now to describe it.
Okay, so his head's kind of egg-shaped, but it's like squashed at the top with a bit of hair on the top. He has one huge eye. And he's got just a slight, he's got a very large mouth, but he's in a smile and the mouth is closed. His body looks like a teddy bear. So he's got a big stomach, arms aren't super thick, but in a little more proportion. There's like these square claws on his fingers. His legs are a little bit wider. I don't know. It's just no real texture stuff to his skin. If anybody's got questions, I think that's...
Got a minute left.
No ears.
Nope, no ears.
Just one eye?
Yeah, just one eye right in the center, but it takes up most of his face. It's huge.
Any nose? Nothing.
No nose, and his mouth is it's closed. It's big, but it's closed, and he's got maybe a slight grin.
30 seconds.
No scales, nothing on the body.
Nope, no scales, no nothing. It's just like kind of smooth skin.
15 seconds. 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Before we reveal, Grace had mentioned the cheese melting description from the last one made sense.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we'll start with Karl. Share your drawing.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so Bassey. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The big eyes so far. Everybody got that. The big eye. And then Chidi.
Wait.
Ooh.
Wait.
There we go.
Can you see it?
Ooh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then Roger, make a mental note on who you think was closest.
Wow, that's tough. No, I'm just saying everybody actually did a good job, I think. So it's making it hard to pick one. Okay, I got one.
All right. And then I'm going to share what it looks like. This is what it actually looks like.
I forgot about the spot on his.
It has
Yeah.
two.
Oh, I forgot the teeth. I forgot about the teeth. Yeah, I forgot about the teeth. I focused on the eyes so much and the head and the body shape.
He does look like a teddy bear.
He does.
I mean, that's the best description, I thought.
Right. And then everyone else share your image.
I don't know. Wait.
There we go. Mm-hmm. All right. And then on the count of 3, we'll vote. So again, in order 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, vote.
Who is? I don't even know.
Oh, Karl's 1. Karl's 1. Chidi is 2 or 3. Sorry, Karl's 1. Chidi is 3.
So I'm 2.
Yeah. You're 2. All right. And then Karl or Roger, which one did you choose?
I picked Karl, I think, but it was tough. I thought everybody's. It was kind of a tough decision, even though he was kind of sitting down. But I didn't really say that he was the way he was. But I just thought,
right,
that was hard. I mean, I thought everybody kind of drew him pretty closely. So,
right, yeah. So I think I don't know who would have won if we would have kept score. I know Roger was leading at the beginning, but maybe Karl or Chidi or Bassey might have caught back up. I don't know. But yeah, so maybe for the last few minutes before we end our stream, can you guys share maybe how you would think to use this in class? I have some ideas, but maybe you could share before I share some of mine.
I have a great idea. I mean, I'm actually really excited about this. With my 9th grade science skills course that I was talking about before, was trying to get them to understand the ideas of making observations, but then also communicating observations that they've made to someone else in such a way that they could take those observations and turn them into something. So basically, I had them on a Google Sheet build something out of colored shapes and then describe the shapes to somebody else, and they had to remake the same picture and then share it with the original person so they could compare and say, well, this is where I should have changed what I said and how I could have altered that to make it more clear what I was trying to do. And this game is doing that exactly, but turning it into a lot more fun and with crazy pictures rather than shapes on Google.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. Anyone else?
The game is fun for memorization.
Yeah.
Really, because you have a short time to look at the cards, and you must have noticed as much detail as possible. So it draws attention to detail. For me here in Nigeria, I won't use monsters, but I would use any other thing. But I like the concept behind the game.
Yeah, I agree with both Karl and Bassey. I can envision this as a biologist. I can envision this being used to perhaps describe diagrams or just use it as a content review. process where students can describe, I don't know, the diagram of a cell or something like that. And also coming from an informal setting, this can also be a communication driven type of activity where only the describer has all the information, but now you have to communicate that in such a way, just like Karl said, in such a way that they get the picture. And if, like if a mentor and a mentee, a mentor is an expert in the field and you have the full picture, but the mentee has no clue, and you have to bring them on the same page. So I think it's also a good communication exercise tool from an informal perspective. And also, I think also can be used in an art class, just for fun, and see how people interpret different scenarios or different scenery. And it's all different with each perspective. So from different perspectives. So yeah, I'm very excited about this one. This is really cool.
Awesome. And Roger, do you have anything to add too?
Well, I'm going to actually do something different, because even though I'm a science teacher, the thing kind of came to me was kind of like a type of a language sort of thing where you could twist it a little bit, where maybe you have one student reading a passage or something from some literature or whatever, and then the other students either having to draw that scene, character, whatever, or maybe rewriting what they heard from that student that explained it to them. So you could do it. You could really make a lot of different little iterations, take the basic idea there and even make it a writing thing too, if you wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is, I don't know why that popped in my head, but I was just kind of thinking like language or something.
I can see that play out in my house. If you give my 3 kids something, maybe they went on a journey, and you tell them, come back and capture your experience. My first will draw, my second will write, and my third will construct. So I see what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
They all have different ways of expressing the same experience that they are going through.
Right.
So
that's what I think what you're doing there, the way I was looking at it is letting the student pick what works for them to explain. Because in the big scheme of things, I've always felt that's super important for kids, because they all learn things differently in the way they understand it, and let them express it in the way that makes sense to them. Because at the bottom line, they got to get it their way, maybe not necessarily the way that you might explain it to them. So it gives them that option.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome. I know like I mentioned, Eric, who was on the podcast not too long ago, he was an English language arts teacher. So he had used it for English language arts, but he also looked at other ways you can use it in art. I think he mentioned science as well. And I just see, like, I'm an English language as a second language teacher. That's my background. And this would be huge for that, right? For listening skills and descriptive language. And
I guess I should mention this. The school I teach at is actually a Japanese boarding school, so I am teaching chemistry in ESL. So I agree with you completely on that as well. I think it's a great use for that.
That's awesome. Cool. Awesome. Well, if you guys don't mind just sharing a little bit about where everyone can learn more about you before we go, we'll start with Karl.
Sure. I mean, I guess the easiest way for me is the board game side of things. I have an Instagram at Purple Moose Plays, and I also run the YouTube channel at Purple Moose Plays. It's mostly solo focused, especially now with the pandemic. I'm trapped at home playing a lot of solo games. But if you're into that kind of thing, please come check me out.
Awesome. Thank you. And Bassey?
Lyndem Edutainment, both on WhatsApp or Instagram or Facebook. Lyndem Edutainment. That's where you would find me to understand properly how I use games to teach children whatever concept it is that they're struggling with or they would want to further enjoy. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. And then Chidi.
I have several accounts, but to learn about my bird games, it's birdwiser.com. And to learn more about my general work and what I do, can learn more about that at chidipage.com. And I also just started created an Instagram page that is dedicated to how you can learn in a very fun way, and it's fun ways to learn. Number 2, so fun ways to learn.
Fun ways to learn. Okay, awesome, cool. And then Roger, I know you're with me every week, but where can someone find you if they wanted to reach out to you too?
Well, I think just using the roger@boardgamingwitheducation.com email wise, I think, because I'm trying to drift over there. I mean, I have some other accounts and stuff like that. And then the other thing I do too is I demo for Gray Fox Games. So I'm on Facebook doing live streams 2 or 3 times a week with those guys, trying to work with them. So,
Awesome. And if I guess Gray Fox Games, they have their Discord channel too, right?
Yeah, they do. They do have a Discord channel. So if anybody's interested in learning about their kind of stuff, and they have like one educational game I know that Dustin and I are kind of looking at. It's called For Science. It's going to be coming out. Pretty good. It's kind of like a sciencey, but it's kind of spatial things. You're building stuff and things like that. So it could be kind of cool.
Cool.
How soon is that coming up? That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. And then I guess if you're interested, anyone watching, you want to pick up MonsDRAWsity, we have it on our site, boardgamewwitheducation.com. We just sold out, but we're getting some more copies in soon. Hopefully in like a week or so, depending on, again, shipping logistics right now. And we are going to develop resources for it. So if you purchase it on our site, you'll have any other like bonus resources. We talked about using the game for, and like lesson plans that we develop for the game in the future. You'll have access to those. Awesome. So thank you guys so much. This was fun. We'll have to play again in the future, and maybe hopefully we could all play in person soon.
Yeah, at some point.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.